It is no longer news that there is a battle between the FIA president and F1 for the ultimate control of Formula One. The FIA president has asserted that they own F1 and only lease the commercial rights to Liberty Media. Furthermore, they have to approve any future sale of those rights. John Malone of Liberty Media, also known as Darth Vader, has challenged this view through his gopher at the BBC, the Bent Broadcasting Corporation, who amongst other things is claiming that the right of approval was lost through the process of listing F1 on the stock exchange. If that is the case, then the FIA should have the right to void the sale on the grounds that the FIA executives who executed such a contract with Liberty Media had acted outside of their powers, and to the detriment of the FIA. This video is the sequel to our previous video, exposing how John Malone bribed the FIA to approve the sale. To fully understand the background to this video, we recommend that you watch the previous video, available in our Fraudmula 1 playlist. In this video we will show how if it is Liberty Media's plan to defraud the FIA, by turning the 78-year-old lease that they hold on F1 into a freehold, with one stroke of the pen, then Lewis Hamilton could hold the key to the battle between the FIA and F1 for control of Formula One. Before delving further, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, subscribe and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next video is uploaded. Returning to the topic at hand, it should be recalled that, back in 2013, when the FIA was the undisputed owner of F1, Sean Todd, the then FIA president, blackmailed Bernie Ecclestone into topping up the fees he was paying the FIA for the commercial rights to F1, by claiming 1% of Bernie's company. Subsequently, in 2017, when Liberty Media bought 100% of Bernie's company, which of course included the FIA's 1%, the FIA also had to approve that sale. However, after the completion of the sale, Liberty Media's gopher is now claiming that the FIA's approval rights have fallen away by virtue of the flotation, which incidentally reinstated the FIA's 1% share of Formula One. Yes folks, you heard that right. After buying the FIA's 1%, which yielded the FIA a profit of $79.5 million, Liberty Media turned around and gave the FIA another 1% share of their newly acquired asset. So, which is the bribe, the $79.5 million, or the 1%? Answers in the comment section below please. Okay, to buttress a point, we sometimes like to flip the narrative, so, in this instance, we will flip things around on the 1% narrative. Imagine if someone owns a company that gave a prime minister, on £150,000 per annum, an undeclared loan of £800,000 to top up his paltry public service income, and then turns around to dissolve that company and write off the debt. Is that a bribe? Well, I hear you cry, surely £800,000 is too small to bribe a prime minister. Perhaps so, but that would be missing the key point of this narrative, which is that the $800,000 falls under some non-declarable threshold. Are you getting it now? We are not saying that this has anything to do with the Boris Johnson and the Bent Broadcasting Corporation's chairman's case. We are just setting this out for illustration purposes only. So, it is possible that the 1% that F1 gave the FIA post-sale could just fall under a non-declarable threshold, right? So, back to Lewis Hamilton holding the key to the battle between the FIA and F1. We have long been shouting from the rooftops that John Milton Malone, the owner of Liberty Media, who is also known as Darth Vader, is the devil's advocate, who many don't see coming until he has claimed their hearts and souls. For example, with Toto Wolff and Mercedes, he used the fake assurance of equity tomorrow, and the current bilateral arrangements, to bribe them into dropping their appeal, and put a target on Lewis's back. And, just for good measure, he topped the bribe up with the F1 Academy for Toto's wife, Susie. But as we all know, there is a heavy price to pay for dining with the devil, and the reputational damage that is coming for the Wolves and Mercedes F1 is just round the corner. To date, Toto and Mercedes can only watch as Darth Vader's assurance burns in hell. As for the FIA, the writing is on the wall. This is because John Milton, devilishly, killed two birds with one stone, by using the plot to defraud Lewis Hamilton of his 8th title, to defraud the FIA of their freehold in F1. Yes, John Milton Malone is something else, isn't he? As some of you may be aware, in order to seek equity in court, you must first come with clean hands. So, in order to seek equity for the fraud perpetrated against them by Darth Vader, the FIA must first wash their hands clean of the fraud that they helped F1 perpetrate against Sir Lewis Hamilton. We will explain the best strategy for the FIA president to adopt in this regard, but before doing so, we will point out that the 243 motoring and motorsports club members of the FIA, in 147 countries, who have hitherto stuck their heads in the sand as Darth Vader subjugated their executives, now need to pull their heads out of the sand, right quick, before their freehold in F1 is gone with the wind. Okay, now our returning viewers understand why we used that picture of people burying their heads in the sand in our last video, right? The FIA members have now been put on public notice that John Milton has activated a plan to turn the 78-year lease that they hold on the commercial rights to F1 into a freehold. Yes, you heard that right, FIA members. If you know any of the members of the FIA, please feel free to share this video with them. All the covenants that were put in place to protect the freehold are gradually being, or have been stripped away, by virtue of the stock exchange listing. Why is it that Liberty Media's gopher, at the Bent Broadcasting Corporation, feels that he is suitably informed to tell the FIA president of the terms and conditions underpinning a lease that the FIA granted? How can Andy Pandy Benson claim that the F1 stock exchange listing means that FIA approval is no longer required to sell the commercial rights of F1 if his strings are not being pulled by John Milton? In any event, it is now a matter of public record that the FIA and F1 have conflicting views of the terms underpinning the leasehold. Mohammed might believe the FIA still own F1, have only leased the rights to Liberty Media, and have to approve any future sale, but Liberty Media clearly disagree vehemently. So, the FIA members should be aware that they have been put on notice that all is not well with the contracts underpinning the leasing of F1's commercial rights to Liberty Media, and the statute of limitations clock started ticking the day Andrew Gopher Benson, of the Bent Broadcasting Corporation, revealed Liberty Media's objectives when attacking Mohammed. It would appear from his utterances that Mohammed may not have been privy to the contracts through which Shaun ceded away FIA's ownership of F1, including the right of approval over any future sale. By now, Mohammed is acutely aware that he is in John Milton's crosshairs, and Liberty Media's media control is total, and smearing their target is the precursor to the hanging. So, Mohammed will be well advised to go to Abu Dhabi before Abu Dhabi comes to Mohammed. To protect his position and the FIA's ownership of F1, Mohammed needs to promptly revisit Abu Dhabi 2021 and hold all those FIA staff that were responsible fully accountable. Since this wrongdoing was committed during his predecessor's tenure, it is possible for him to clean house and put clear water between the FIA and F1. At the same time, he should revisit the contracts underpinning the sale of the commercial rights to F1 as a matter of urgency. Revisiting Abu Dhabi gives Mohammed the opportunity to grab Malone by the short and curlies, something no one appears to have been able to do for some time. In any event, as the battle rages between the FIA and F1, someone is going to have to carry the can for what happened to Lewis Hamilton in Abu Dhabi. Either it's going to be Mohammed's predecessor, acting in cahoots with Liberty Media, or it is going to be the FIA under Mohammed's presidency. The choice is Mohammed's. The FIA members also have a choice to make. They can either pull their heads out of the sand and become engaged in the battle to reclaim their freehold, or else it will be gone with the wind. At present, the Lewis Hamilton debacle can be placed squarely at the FIA's feet, unless Mohammed can demonstrate that it was John Malone and Liberty Media who influenced Michael Marcy and other corrupt FIA stewards to carry out the robbery. Dial 44 for Karma.